A Wisconsin judge has dismissed a Republican state lawmaker's lawsuit over military voting records, saying Friday that the challenge should have been brought up against a local elections official and not the statewide election commission. Representative Janel Brandtjen, the former head of the Assembly Elections Committee, sued the WEC in November in an attempt to stop military absentee ballots from being counted in the 2022 midterm. It was in response to a Milwaukee elections official who falsely requested military absentee ballots and sent them to Brandtjen's home, claiming she was trying to expose a vulnerability in the voting process.